This episode of Super GG Radio is brought to you by our Patreon. Patrons of the show can get our Dogs of Super GG Radio newsletter, Super GG Radio stickers to slap on your closest PC or bag, input on what we cover, game nights with the hosts, and even a chance to win a copy of an indie we talked about. Not only that, but 90% of all patron contributions go to the Children's Miracle Network of hospitals. Visit patreon.com/superggradio to learn more. You know that if I never had to hear Lenny Kravitz again, I'd be fine.
You mean hear him talk or hear a song by him?
Both.
Does it matter?
Yeah.
I think it does matter.
Are you gonna,
I don't know why.
Are you
what
gonna
it
go
is.
my way? Is that one of his?
Yes.
Okay.
What? I just was all of my life. That one I was like, it was just on like something I was watching, and I was like, this isn't. I don't need to hear this song, like ever. Doesn't like it's not like he's offensive. I'm so apathetic to him.
Fair.
Is that just me? Is that just
No.
me? Like, no? Okay.
I mean, most music I could live without, but I don't go around blatantly telling Lenny Kravitz that he sucks. So
I didn't say he sucks. I just, I don't.
You certainly implied it.
yeah,
I do think
heavily implied.
If Lenny Kravitz was the main character in It's a Wonderful Life, nothing would change when he jumped off the bridge. That's what Alex is saying right now.
Wow, that was accurate.
I would
It
argue
was insanely apt.
the opposite, as Zoe Kravitz is a saint.
Yes, I do enjoy her. I do enjoy her body of work.
Yeah, I thought that was going to take a different direction too.
No, I enjoy her body of work. She does good. She does good work. She's a good actress, I think.
You should check out The Studio on Apple TV.
Yes, I have.
What's
seen,
Apple TV?
I have.
I don't know.
I don't know. I've been
That's
watching.
where Mythic Quest is. That's where Mythic Quest is.
I've been watching Severance.
Oh, good.
Wait, can we go back to Mythic Quest?
Yeah,
Alex, did you watch the original finale?
I did. I did not.
And then-
I'm a season behind.
So, if you guys didn't know, maybe you
I
pay
had heard
attention
about
to
this.
it, but Mythic Quest, they aired an episode for the last season that was on, like, yeah, we're going to continue. And then they're like, you know what? We're actually going to end the series there.
They got
And then they
canceled.
went in and they changed the last episode. So the last 5 minutes of it, different. Well, not completely different. There's something that happens. Alex will probably end up watching it. So I'll tell
Did you
him
watch-
after. Yes.
Did you watch the original?
We saw the original ending, and then I was like, that's pretty good. And then they changed it, and I was like, that's not good at all.
Oh, it's bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
I like the characters' dynamic and the way that they could have ended it the other way, and it still would have been fine. But there's been a couple of shows that it's like, if you ended it right here, it would be fine. Like, this could be a good ending.
They kind of separated the characters out, though, that they stopped interacting. Like 3 people interacted, and then 7 other people interacted together, but they weren't all 10 of them together, and I didn't like that for the season I'm in.
So I looked up Zoe Kravitz and I went through her IMDb. I've seen nothing that she is in.
You didn't see the Batman?
Nope.
That's a you problem, sir.
You really should see the Batman. It's fantastic.
Is it?
It is.
It is actually
Really
fairly competent.
I think it's one of the best Batman stories that they've put in film.
It's very true to the character. It's long. That's the
It's
complaint.
3 hours. It's fully 3 hours.
I don't have time to watch a 3-hour movie.
You can watch it in half an hour increments.
And you also spend a lot more time doing a lot more other things.
No, I don't.
Here, let me help you out, Alec. You know the 20 minutes that you spent playing the betas for this week at 7 o'clock? Just don't do that, and you can watch a quarter of the movie.
Yes.
Hey, I spent 25 minutes playing the betas.
At least
Now
5
imagine if
minutes
you
of that
spent-
was him in a screen.
And also,
Start menu.
imagine if you had spent 25 minutes watching The Batman.
Well, then I wouldn't have anything to talk about on the podcast.
That's fine. You didn't need to talk about the betas. I would
Yeah.
prefer it if you saw The Batman. I think that would be better for you, as a human being.
You got a whole 2 weeks to do it. Just
Yeah.
go watch it.
I'll watch
Don't
it with
make
you.
excuse.
You want to
Every
hang out?
time. Yeah.
I do
Do
wanna
you not
hang
want to
out.
do like I could just make us drinks at home and we could just watch the Batman.
That sounds like a plan.
See? Every time that you think I don't have time to watch the Batman, just watch 15, 20 minutes of it, and it'll be done before you know it.
Yeah, but is that enough to get a feel for it?
Look,
You'll
you gotta,
probably-
you gotta commit at some point.
Oh, also, Alec, no, you get the feel in the first 5 minutes. You get
Yeah.
that first opening sequence, you're kind of locked in real fast.
Don't
That,
worry.
it starts really well and then kind of holds on to you for the majority of it. Like I would say that movie falters at the end.
Come on.
But that first
Down here.
first hour is really really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I think the last like half an hour could have been cut.
It could have been trimmed. There are definitely some parts where it's like, this wasn't absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
I know that it was a choice. Do we do podcast stuff this week too?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'd say it's
Supposedly.
a podcast.
All right, fine. So I'm not. I guess what's good internet? Sure. Welcome to session 294. That can't be right.
It
We've
is.
been doing this that long. We're almost at 300.
Yeah.
Do we do
Time
a
to party.
Spartan episode for episode 300?
I could
Everybody
rewatch
goes
that
shirtless?
movie and then just have a whole bunch of shirtless and then just yelling.
Yeah.
gruff voices. I can come up with some real solid quotes from that movie. I mean, I haven't seen it in a long time, so I'd have to rewatch it. But I can come up with some like super meathead quotes from that movie.
All right, let's run through the cast really quick. Our cast, not the cast of 300.
You got Clive Owen. Is it Clive Owen?
No.
No. It's
No,
Gerard
you don't.
Butler,
It's Zoe
right?
Kravitz in there.
No,
Wait,
it's not.
no, she's not.
He's not. He's.
Because I have
said
seen 300, and I know she's not in that.
I said the cast of Super GG Radio.
You
So
thought
this
about it
week,
for a second, though.
I will be your host, somebody who knows nothing about anything. Also with me is Alex Arona, who apparently can just rail off actors' names even though they're not in the movie that you think that he's talking about.
Both Owen and Luke Wilson. Alec all of a sudden is questioning it. Also, I like how you didn't even say your name, Getty.
I know. I just said I'll be your host. Because that's how far off the rails it is. I wanted to start this half an hour ago. I'll be Eric Getty Gettinger. How about that?
There you
We
go.
got Alex Arona, Joel DeWitte, who Joel
Yeah.
is gonna probably maybe beat Sekiro. Not sure. And then Alec Parks.
Okay. You know, I am going to beat Sekiro.
All right.
I am. The
I think that
question
it's
is
really-
timeline.
I think what's funnier is that we've kind of just bullied Joel enough that he's just mad. I'm gonna beat Sekiro, damn it! And it really was just a goal, just to bully him enough that he'll actually do it.
I want him to. I need him to add that to his list of accomplishments.
This is the closest FromSoft game has really grabbed me, and I think I know why. It is because the speed. Like the few times I played a Dark Souls or a Demon Souls, it felt really slow by comparison to this. So like this is really snappy and quick, and as anger-inducing as it is, it's really really cool how quickly things fly in that game.
Games like Bloodborne and Elden Ring amp up the speed, but nothing is as fluid as Sekiro.
Yeah.
Nothing ever gets that way. Everything else, not for nothing though, they do ramp up the speed in those two games.
Okay.
Like I was a Dex dual wielding swordsman in Elden Ring and Bloodborne, just because there aren't any blocks, there aren't any shields, you only have dodge and parries.
Yeah. Okay.
So there is like a history of that. Sekiro just being the thematic next step of like that speed.
All right. Fair enough.
You'll get there someday.
Yep.
I definitely said Alec is with us this week, but
Yep.
I don't have it.
He's still going down the Zoe Kravitz IMDb.
Is he
No,
really?
I was going down the should I beat Legend of Mana or should I complete Legend of Mana?
I don't know what the difference is.
Well, to beat it, you just need to beat the last boss. Complete it. There are so many more missions that I have.
Oh,
You should-
that's it.
You should beat it and then watch the Batman.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, you should beat it and then just decide whether you want to keep playing it or not.
Mm-hmm. That's also a very viable option. Video games you don't have to play them.
There's in Persona 3 there's always like this like secondary like story that's like an extra like 20 hours, and I definitely like I beat Persona 3 and I was like, cool, done. And it's like, do you want to continue doing the DLC? And I'm like, no. And I actually just started it up like recently where I'm like, oh, if I'm okay right now. I do want to try to finish that up, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump into that DLC now after I took a break for like a couple months.
I did try and bully Alex into playing any of the 14 other games that he is actively in the middle of. It did not work.
Well, first off, I'm not in the middle of any of those games that you said. You're just being a bully at that point.
Are you kidding? So, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. You did not start Monster Hunter?
I got one mission in. That doesn't count.
That counts as starting it. You
That's the
started the game.
Yeah.
That's
All
the
right.
tutorial.
You started the game.
I did the tutorial.
It's starting the game.
It is.
It's 3-1 here, buddy.
No, you can do whatever. I don't care. It's not your life.
Final
it's my
Fantasy.
life.
Final Fantasy 16.
That one I do want to get back to. That one's coming back.
So I was also lying about that one.
No, you said Stellar Blade. That was one of them, and I'm like, I didn't absolutely.
Expedition
Stellar Blade.
33. You're not playing that one either.
That is ongoing. I am playing that. I am playing that. I'm playing that on stream. That's only on stream.
All right. I'm just wondering. You're gonna finish
See,
all of those?
This is just bullying.
I know it is.
Yeah, because I,
just
am going
want
to beat
you
all those games.
commit to do it.
Did he mention
beat
Final
you.
Fantasy
Peer
7?
pressure.
I beat 3 games this week. What are you talking about?
You
2
mentioned
games
Final
and I got-
Fantasy 7 yet, or is that not started yet?
He didn't start it.
Okay. All right.
That was also on his list of things that he was trying to complain to me about.
I did not say that because I know
I don't
that
really
you didn't
pay
start
attention
it.
to you texting me half the time.
That's true for you to me as well. But this week we definitely have some early adopters. So before we break up the podcast, let's come together to talk about a couple of games. And that's why Alex wants to tell you about the button effect.
You press a button, it does the thing.
So
Nailed it.
I have some thoughts here. Y'all go to work, right? Everybody's employed right now.
Correct.
Yep.
Theoretically.
Okay. How do you feel about clicks? How do you feel about clicks? You want more clicks or less clicks?
As clocked out of work.
I feel like more clicks.
More clicks?
Yeah.
So my job is to
Efficiency.
automate things, so I want less clicks.
Okay.
The more I
but-
can make the computer do, the better I'm doing.
My job has to do with emergency hospital equipment. So the more clicks is bad.
Uh-huh.
So less clicks.
So I have less clicks and more using my brain right now in my job. So I miss clicks. I'd like more clicks. I miss
But
the
for
sound.
efficiency's
I miss
sake.
the yes, of course. You know, do the clicks for efficiency.
So I have a team of people, and the general consensus is less clicks.
Uh-huh.
So the button effect is first person, you are interacting with buttons to solve puzzles. And I got to the second room and I was like, man, I'm starting to feel like less clicks would be good. Because it's just a lot of clicking, and then I'd go back and click another button, and then go forward and click a button. And then, repeat in order to solve the puzzle. So a lot of clicks.
As an example, you would get a green button that would have a line that would be like facing forward. But there would be like a little wall in front of it. But there would be a red button next to that little wall. You press the red button, the wall goes down. You press the green button, it goes and lights a button on the other side of that wall. And you just keep moving forward, unblocking the green button from igniting the next button in the chain. So you're just finding ways to go back and forth, trying to open up more buttons. And that's what I think is kind of funny, is that the reward for figuring out how to push button correct is more push button.
Yep.
It's like, oh, you push the button. Good job pushing button. You know what you get? Another button. Push button.
It's
I'm like,
having to
I push
go
button.
back an entire room to find the button that I need to click in order to move forward back to the other room. I'm all for puzzle games. Like, I really do enjoy them. I appreciate them. I started playing Escape Academy because I thought that might be fun.
It was fun.
And those puzzles generally, will take you
some
somewhere.
semblance of sense, yeah.
This is just like, did you click button? Click button gooder.
Yeah. No, now click other button. Great job. Now click pre-button. To get post button, which you can unpress the post button, which rewards you with next
more
room
button.
with more buttons. Yes.
I don't want to be too critical of it. It is, the puzzles are fairly simple. There was nothing that had me bashing my head against the wall. It just feels like a lot of clicking.
You want more of a linear experience when you're doing your puzzling.
I want it to challenge me.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I want it to be, just not click button.
Okay. All right.
But how else
You
are you
mentioned
supposed to receive bacon?
And I think that there's like a
was
funny...
there bacon?
No, that's
Yeah, I missed the bacon.
there's an old meme about air dryers that with the wavies that push button receive bacon.
Bacon.
okay. All right.
I always think of the that old video where it's a guy and he goes, "Hey, if you hit this button, you get $10,000." And the guy presses it and he goes, "Well, wait, hold on. The rest of the thing was that someone dies." And the guy goes, "Okay," and presses it again. And he's like, "Wait, no, you're not supposed. Okay, stop." The guy's like, "What?" And starts keeps hitting the button over and over again. It's just that kind of concept where I'm like, the reward is the button.
Man, that's a movie. Isn't that a movie with Ben Affleck?
That later became a movie, yes. But it started out as this as a viral video thing.
What
But it's
movie is that?
Hold on, I think it's just called The Button. Wait.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's like a suspense thriller thing, which
Yeah.
again, it's like the whole joke was that like it's not that's not a bad thing for it's like, oh, okay. Like I saw the same thing was also it's like if you hit this button you get $10,000 but you lose 7 years of your life, and the guy just keeps hitting it over and over again. He's like, "What's wrong? Stop doing that! Stop doing that!" He goes, "I'm not going to give you any money," and the guy goes, "That's fine," and then keeps hitting it. He just goes hitting the button over and over again.
What is something like? Is there a scenario that you don't push the button?
For what? What do you mean? In
I don't
life or
know.
in this game?
Yes. Like if this were a real scenario where somebody says, if you push the button, you will get, but something bad will happen. Is there a scenario where you don't push the button?
Oh, that's too easy, man. There's 1,000 scenarios. It's like, but if you hit the button, you're going to kick your mama in the temple. And I'm like, well, I don't like that.
I mean, it depends, though. Like,
What if the
for
what
$1
if the name
billion,
was
my mom would slap me for not hitting that button and kicking her in the temple.
Well, yeah, but now what you're saying is there anything that, I guess, are you asking, is there anything that you wouldn't do for money?
Well,
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff I would do for money, Alec.
And think like the $10,000 button if somebody shits their pants every time you press it.
I would hit that button dozens of times. I don't know.
Yeah, I would
and then
hit
the
it
guy's
until,
like-
until
guy's like-
Alex texted and said, "Dude, you won't believe what just happened."
And the funnier part was the guy would be like, "Well, I'm not even going to give you any money," and I'd be like, "It's not for the money. I want everyone to poo their pants."
speaking of which, I think, Joel, you've got penalty.
Are we doing that still?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't.
Did he
I
swear?
thought we still
You said
were
the S
swearing.
word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he?
Does that count?
You said sword?
Yeah, that's what I said.
I don't think
Well,
that's what he said, but
yeah.
if he did, then
You're up.
shame.
Have we defined what punishment is?
3 hours of Sekiro.
It's,
I'm gonna do that anyway.
how
No,
about
you're
doing
not.
the podcast
No, you're
sober?
not. Your Sekiro sessions are 1 hour. I want 3.
It's like an
Did
hour
you
and a
say
half.
doing the podcast sober?
Yes.
Oh,
I sure
that's
did.
This is
That's a
one.
tough one, too.
That's one.
This is my
one.
third
You
beer.
drinking a Yingling? That's
Yeah,
a
he
half.
is.
That's half.
See? Exactly. This might as well
Like,
be one.
what if you have to do the podcast under 6 Yinglings?
No. I don't want that
And he
stomach
works the
ache.
next day.
Well, then you gotta stop swearing, Joel. At this point, it's either 3 hours of Sekiro or 7 Yinglings. The number keeps going up.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Completely derailed the podcast.
Yep.
We're not even talking about the button effect anymore. Okay, let's try and reset and click the button to get back into it. Okay. By show of buttons, who will press this when it's released? Did you guys finish the demo? Did you get to the wish list button?
No.
I did not.
No, I got to the third room, got stuck, and was like, nope, I'm good.
I'm
Yeah,
the
I
only
got it where
chump
that's
that
like
did
there's
it.
all where you have like the thing keeps like a pillar of buttons keeps rotating.
Yep.
Couldn't figure out how to get
Okay.
past that one.
Mine
All right.
was with the walls. The walls with the series of buttons on it.
Okay.
Okay. Joel got pretty far then. It was right after that, so you weren't too far off from the end of it. Again, visually, it's good. I do like the narration of it. They really set the mood.
They really kind of give you a whole mood, and then even give you like an opening credits sequence with like multiple voice actors and actresses like giving you like, oh, and then you hear about this person, then you hear this character, and there's going to be a lot of it, and then they give you an introduction about and a philosophical, like little statement, and they really kind of bang out a real mood for you.
Yeah, I definitely skipped the intro.
Yeah,
Whoa.
you would, because
I
you
would.
hate voice actors.
No, I love voice actors. I hate waiting. They just so slow. So slow. And I was just like, okay, let me push the button.
He hates voice actors.
Well, anyway.
Notable.
Tara Strong is a saint.
Yeah, I won't argue at that point.
Yeah,
But-
but you should probably stop and listen to her then.
Yeah. Probably.
But she wasn't in the button effect.
You don't know?
Well,
How
yeah.
would you know?
You skipped the intro.
How would you know? There was credits, Alec.
Yeah, there were.
Uh,
I hate to agree with Alex, but he's right. Okay.
He's a jerk, but he's right.
I also would have liked the maybe it will in the full version of the game, but the pieces of artwork that you are at the gallery and they are around, it would be nice to also move a little bit closer. I found myself running into the wall to get closer to see what was in some of the other gallery rooms instead of just beelining to click all the buttons.
I mean, there was a zoom feature, right?
There was a zoom, but it was, I believe, the second room. If you walk over to the edge, there is an art installation, but it's off to the side. So even with the zoom, you're not getting a head-on look at it. And it might be kind of cool to see some of those things, like try and get more up close. And
What I saw though that was interesting was that there is there was like certain installations in the background of the hills, and if you ever played The Witness, you guys ever played The Witness?
Nope.
nope.
My thought
No.
process, I'm like, there's going to be a way that I press those as buttons, like on the roaring hills.
yeah.
So
Okay. So that was the button effect. Some of us may return to it. We'll see.
Yeah.
Depends on how many more button clicks we have to accomplish to get there. The other game that we played was Card Buster. And I know
Buster.
that the second that Alec went to install this, he went, "Why is this 16 gigabytes?"
I did.
So, Alec, Card Buster, what is it?
So you play as a character in a top-down isometric view where you are running around utilizing cards that randomly appear in your 1 through 4s or your right analog stick to defeat enemies and advance through levels. It is Hades, but with deck building.
which the deck building also, like, you do get some options. So, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to pick these through. I want to pick my weapons because, again, I had, like, a flamethrower and a potato gun.
Yes.
But you could have swapped those out for different cards and add new abilities and weapons through your wheel.
And right after every run, you get the opportunity to customize your deck or to upgrade cards that are in your deck.
What I also liked is that the cards play off of each other. I had a tornado ability, which made I just had a tornado around me that I would walk around and it would just hit enemies. So I didn't even have to attack; it would just automatically have the tornado. But if I then, because once you use it, that card went away. So then it gave me the flamethrower card. I shot my flamethrower. It went into the tornado. Now my tornado was on fire.
Tornado.
Fire tornado. So there was a good synergy there. Yeah, there was a good synergy. If you played around with these cards, you could combine some really cool stuff, especially like the passives.
Heck yeah.
And then like you would fight these enemies, and then there would be a gate that would open, and then you get a reward card, and where you could pick one or a couple different options, and then you continue on in your progression.
Right, and most stages had multiple exit gates to determine what your next reward was going to be. Health, pop tabs, or a card.
Mm-hmm. Everybody needs more pop tabs.
I don't even know what's going on.
Bye.
I did it.
Joel, edit that out.
No.
Do not edit that out. My son will not be silenced.
Joel, edit that out.
So, like, you brought up an interesting point. Why is this game 15 gigs?
Wow,
what
Alec has
happened?
something to say about storage here.
Yeah, what happened to games being a reasonable size? I mean, Final Fantasy IX is 9 gigs.
You've never played a Call of Duty, have you?
Yes, not recently.
They're like 80. They're like 80 gigs.
It's a
That's
lot.
insane. Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, great game, 1.24 gigs.
Also, look at when that came out.
Right. So what happened that
Them 4K textures, sir.
It's all those Ks. You know,
Yeah, all the Ks.
They first they want 4, and now they want 8 in this economy.
Yeah.
and
Our
that's
eyes,
everywhere.
our eyes could only read 2.5, 3 at best.
right. That's why I'm happy with my 2K resolution because I'm not even far enough away for it to matter to be able to make a difference.
You're not God. And through Jesus, all things are possible.
He said cheeses, in case you were wondering.
Yeah. Jesus, he lives in the corner.
But seriously, like, why have we gotten so intense into only... This game is not even graphically intensive. It seems absurd that it's 15 gigs.
I'm saying this from somebody who has very little technical knowledge, but if I've heard right before, it's that it depends on how well optimized the code is.
That's part of it, and graphics compression.
And I could see a case being, especially when you have a lot of smaller dev outfits, that they're not as compact as maybe they could be with a more robust team or something.
Balatro is 64 megs. One dev.
What game?
Balatro.
I mean, that feels like a different case.
I mean, let's be honest. Balatro is kind of just a spreadsheet with a splash of paint on it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of intensity to even the animations in there. It's just
Monster Hunter Wilds is what? Let's see.
I imagine it's probably substantial.
72, and that's without the 4K textures.
That's a without the 4K?
Yes,
That's a beefy boy right there.
I'd have to add. There's a separate thing where it's like, do you want to install 4K shaders? And I'm like,
oh, you know you do.
I don't.
You need
Ender
those.
Magnolia, Bloom in the Mist, 4.5 gigs.
Yeah, again, not the same thing. Sir.
Small. No, I'm comparing it to small team.
Okay.
With potentially with graphics and story.
Let's do one that's closer to 1-to-1. Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom.
Why don't we just look at the main example here? why don't we just check Hades?
Yellow Taxi goes
Yeah.
vroom.
Why don't we
is-
just check Hades?
Sure. And also, Yellow Taxi goes vroom is 2 gigs, 2.5 gigs.
All right, so
Hades.
Hades 1, 11 gigs. Hades
Yeah.
2, 6.
I can't explain Hades 2, but Hades 1,
That's more normal.
I 10, yeah, I could definitely get there. I feel like 16 was like, I don't know why we got caught up again on something that's completely adjacent to the
It's
game.
Alec Tangent or Parks. That's what this is.
And I'm sober this time.
Okay.
That's just a lie.
Okay.
I also don't know what that's referencing. Were you
don't
not
either.
sober last week or?
Last time I was not.
Last time you went off on a rant?
The last time we recorded the podcast, I was.
Because I missed last week. So
Yeah.
Oh, that was a weird episode anyway.
that was a weird week for my PC where I had to restart it 5 times for my USB drivers to suddenly load.
Oof.
That's what happened. Is that I had a power failure, my PC rebooted, and every time after it rebooted, it would reboot without USB drivers.
All those dust tornadoes you're getting up there.
Dude, definitely the dust tornado. And I saw an article that was like, that was probably toxic.
Oh, nice.
What am I supposed to do with this information?
Yeah, what am I doing with that? What am I doing with this information? I don't know how to feel.
Well, you didn't go out in it, did you?
I had the porch door open.
What?
I sat on the porch and watched it. I was like, huh, this is weird. Such a Chicago thing to do, too. Such a Chicago thing to be like,
Yeah, it
look
is.
at this dust storm. Weird, huh? Just stare at it. I'm going to go over there
Every
and
time the
stare at it.
sirens go off, it's like, hey, I should probably be inside. Like, nah, I'm gonna check it out.
I'm going to check this stuff out, man. I want to know what's
I
going
grew
on.
up. I grew up in the Southwest in Arizona, so dust storms were nothing new for me. I was just used to them, and so when this came on, it was just like, okay, whatever.
It's tough.
Wow.
But Card Busters, I think your dog is out of control.
I know.
Joel,
gonna
edit
mute
this
again.
out. We got to edit this whole section of the podcast out. Like, why are we even having a podcast?
I
Just
mean-
edit the whole thing.
We should have done the former and do why are we having a podcast?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think Card Busters is a very neat idea. I think that the Hades formula still has some meat there. I don't know if the card situation here, it did feel a little bit clunky, the UI, how I would have to pull the card. There is like a reshuffle mechanic where you get one free reshuffle, but after that it takes health, which makes sense. But I felt like this one needed a little bit. This needs a little bit more in the UI and interface, because I died, but I didn't know. the hits were very passive
Yeah.
in a way that I was not, like, I didn't feel a weight to them. I feel like with Hades you get hit,
Yeah.
like there's a gravity to those hits, and I feel like with this one I definitely did not feel the gravity. I just kind of was like, my character just kept going.
There was
So-
one of the monsters that threw rocks, and it was not apparent that there was an AoE from where the rock landed. So the first time I encountered it, I was standing there and I was like, oh, I'm feeling pretty good. And then I got hit and I went down and I was like, why?
Yeah, I didn't even know I died, and then I look, I'm like, oh, my health is 0.
So
I don't
much
remember how I
that
got hit that many times.
so much of that feel of impact has to do with audio and animation.
Yes.
Because it's got to have the right feel and it has to have the right sound that's projecting when you have the actual impact. But then you need the animation to actually feel like there's an impact point too, and it didn't have either here.
Yeah, so I think that those are some things that definitely could be improved. I think this idea is cool, just if only it were like a little bit more streamlined with how you pick the card to use and then just auto use it. Like, I feel like there should be like a little bit more of a smoothness to it. I feel like that a one button prompt should be the move, right? In this
Did
case, it
you
was like
play
couple
keyboard
prompts.
and mouse or controller?
controller.
I thought it was pretty straightforward for which card I was using. It was right stick, up, down, left, right.
But then you had to hit another button to get it, right?
No, only if it was your attack card, and that was just attack.
Well, no, I'm saying like to slot it in place. I thought you had to like you had to move the D-pad and then you had to select it, I thought. And then there was like another button for something else. For some reason, it felt like there was multiple button functionalities. Maybe I'm wrong.
I remembered it auto-slotting every time it drew a card.
But how did you draw a card? Was it one
It
button?
automatically did it. After I used one card, it automatically drew my next one.
Oh, okay. But what I'm saying is that you could swap it out.
Oh,
You
really?
could
I
just
missed that.
Yeah, you could just discard a card for another card. I swapped between flamethrower and potato gun because I was getting impatient and I was like, I want to try a different weapon. Go.
Oh.
But
I missed that mechanic.
But overall, I think that this is a pretty neat idea. I think that this is especially with like deck building being very popular right now. I think that there is a market for this.
Oh, yeah. Well, so
Yep.
despite all of my complaints about size, I did wishlist this. I like the gameplay. I like the deck building mechanic and the upgrades. It's fun.
Nice. That's good. Joel, did you get a chance to this one?
I don't like this game.
That tracks.
It's sad because I played very little of actual Hades, but I'm very tired of the Hades formula from all the other also ran games that I've played that have come since Hades.
What have you played that's a Hades like?
Hades.
Curse of the Dead Gods.
Oh yeah, that is one of them for sure.
I know it's not quite 1-to-1, but I feel like Cult of the Lamb has some of this in shades based off of the branching path kind of stuff that's going on in that.
Okay.
And the run-based stuff. There's been a few more. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. But
Joel hates fun.
I do hate fun, and I don't.
That's why you love Sekiro.
That's why I love Sekiro, because I hate fun. And I don't like how the card system doesn't land with me. It feels a little hollow, and maybe it gets a little more in depth later on, or there's more cards that add depth to it. But the mixture just makes me feel like both of them are sort of half measure done.
Okay.
I think it could use some fine tuning. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Big critique that we had is that knowing when you get hit and either fixing the weight behind it or making it a little bit more obvious. I think it'll get there. I'm of the same opinion as Alec. I'd like to see more of it. I wishlisted it. I think it could still be enjoyable, but you have to see what happens with it down the line.
Yeah.
Those are betas?
You want to take a break?
I think we could take a quick break and then figure out what we're going to talk about in the second half of the show.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll be back. All right. So, Alex, you wanted to bring me here to talk about Magic Mind?
Gaddy, I've been feeling real sluggish. I usually need 3 cups of coffee to get through the day. And when I get home, I'm usually pretty wiped for gaming. It's not enough time.
3 cups of coffee? You taking any herbal supplements or anything to go along with your coffee for energy?
You know I don't trust that stuff, Getty. But what I do know is that luckily enough, we've partnered with Magic Mind to try out their 7-day challenge. We take their mental performance shot, 100% safe addition to my daily routine that kept me focused, mentally clear, motivated, and pretty productive.
You see, I'm not a big fan of matcha, but the shot was quick enough and easy enough to take, and I took it at the same time that I took my coffee. Pretty convenient.
It actually said it works with your coffee. It enhances it. It enhances you as a person. Generally.
It enhances me. I mean, all right, let's be fair. One of the things that I noticed in Magic Mind is it's got ashwagandha. I normally don't take herbal supplements, but that's one of the few that I can get behind it. So I enjoy being able to take it in a quick shot format instead of gummies like you normally would.
I agree, and I actually do take ashwagandha gummies, and I stopped taking them for this, and I actually preferred this. And it also entirely, like as a whole, the whole experience, I felt a soothing calm throughout my day, giving me focus to work and game, and energy to stay awake, the patience to handle my busy toddler. I noticed a zen-like state within myself, and it was surprising. I was actually surprised.
I don't know about Zen, but I was keeping track of my resting heart rate the whole time and my stress levels. I have a Fitbit, and I found that during the time that I took Magic Mind, I was more calm, better stress levels, and my resting heart rate was down a couple of beats per minute.
That's fantastic. And at the same time, you could really taste the green. That's really what I have to say. You could taste the green, which wasn't bad. I was surprised at the taste. Pretty easy. You have tortured us with these ginger shots in the past, and they are atrocious. And this went down pretty easy.
I mean, yeah, that was ginger. This is just like straight matcha.
I mean, it's a mix of mushroom nootropics, adaptogens, and 100% of my daily vitamin C and D per bottle. It kept my immune system up. Again, toddler, always sick. So this is pretty good.
We got to find a way to get you some fish oil, man. Do we know if they add fish oil into Magic Mind?
No, but that might be something that could help. But for now, we have a limited time offer, 48% off your first subscription or 20% off a one-time purchase with code SuperGGRadio20 at checkout, or go to magicmind.com/SuperGGRadio20 to get yours today. Thanks, Magic Mind.
Thanks, Magic Mind. Or did we do... Hold on. I wasn't looking at you. Did you point?
I pointed.
Okay.
I was very rude. I only used one finger. I know you're supposed to point with two.
No.
What's a Tarker?
It's a plane in...
Is it a dragon storm?
Not engaging. Not engaging.
I think that's a fair question.
You know Joel wants to know too, and that's the problem.
Is it a dragon storm? Yes or no?
No, a dragon storm is
No.
a thing that's happening on Tarkir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Tarker.
It's not.
I'm pretty sure it's a Dune character.
All of these are acceptable
Salam Salob.
answers.
The Tony Shalhoub.
Somebody wrote a review for Echo the Dolphin, but it's one paragraph long. Who did this?
Who's played Echo the Dolphin here?
I have.
How is it?
It's good, but that story is wild.
Okay. I can never figure out how to play that game.
You go to the future, and then you end up going into the past to fight dinosaurs.
Okay, but how do you play that game?
With a controller. Hey,
Yeah.
did you guys know Elden Ring Night Rain launched today?
Yep.
It did. People are big mad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
apparently.
it doesn't have cross-platform, right?
Yeah, but people are mad because they want another Elden Ring, not a multiplayer Elden Ring.
And this is what they got.
Apparently, there's a
Isn't
Sekiro
this-
character in there.
I'm sorry,
Oh, yeah?
I thought Night Rain was multiplayer.
It is, but they're saying that they just want Elden Ring. Period. They want another FromSoft game.
They
not
want a
multiplayer.
sequel or
Yeah.
the Nets from Software Souls game.
Yep.
Oh.
Getty, what are we going to talk about in the back half here?
We were going to yell at each other like friends do.
Like we did in that movie theater where I yelled at all those people.
Yeah, I don't know if I told everybody
Did I
about
tell you
the...
guys that story about the wild experience Getty and I had in the movie theater?
I don't think you
This
did.
doesn't sound familiar.
I thought that I might have told them what happened, but
So we
to
we
preface
went
it...
we went to like a 10:30 at night movie. We saw Until Dawn at 10:30 at night,
Yep.
American?
and
Central.
there was a group of teens in front of us gabbing away like Gabby Gabbersons. So of course I say, "Hey, quiet down, trying to watch a movie." And they quiet down, and then an hour into the movie, 11:30 at night, a full family walk in, and they have a 2-year-old in tow. I was unaware, but I did find out because they then gave the 2-year-old YouTube on their phone full blast,
Nice.
and I said,
Until
"Turn
Dawn
off the phone."
is an R-rated movie, in case you're wondering, for graphic violence and language. Some sexual? No sex.
But they also came in at 11:30 at night. They missed the first hour of the film.
Well, I mean, the
Yeah.
tits have to have their nap first before they go out for such a late showing.
And then the person next to me just pulls up TikTok and scrolls for 30 minutes. Now, their volume was off, so I could at least respect that, but it was still like full brightness. I was like, what are we even doing?
Oh,
What
man.
are we even doing?
We're
Why
getting,
are we here?
We're getting that holding a small screen while watching the big screen experience nice and early.
Yeah.
Do that at home. Don't do it in the theater.
You can't make people do anything at home.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
It was wild. But we did successfully make it through Until Dawn.
It was funny though because I yelled at people, and then every time I did, I'd look at Getty, and Getty would just give me the silent nod. He'd be like, "Mm-hmm." I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, put it away, and then I'd look at Getty. He goes, "Mm-hmm." I'm like, okay, cool. It was our own little like, am I the a-hole here? And he definitely was like, nope, you're good. You're good.
He definitely was not. It was. I have not had such a bad film experience in quite some time.
Yeah, and I've been going to movies more now, and I didn't have that experience, so this was like a wild one for me. We saw Until Dawn because it's a video game movie, and I wanted to discuss it. Now, did you guys want to hear about, like, as in, like, what kind of questions did you guys would have for something like an Until Dawn game, a movie?
How did they do the loop mechanic? Like, was it explained why they kept starting the night over?
Yes.
It was an explanation in the way that, like, something had, like, kind of gotten a hold of them, and somebody needed to, like, face their own fears, or they would be trapped in the loop forever.
Ah.
So, I don't love Alex's explanation. It was
Because I'm also
basically.
trying to keep it generic. I'm
I'm
don't
going to
care
do
if
you one
spoil
better.
it.
They need to survive until dawn to make it out. Okay? So that is the premise. And then every time they die, they come back until they don't. Because something happens to them. And that's where the movie introduces some other elements.
But there is, like, something regarding, like, it's based off of one like it's a very specialized loop of torture, and
It's your own personal hell.
Yeah, and that person has to face it in a way. Like, lasting until dawn. I think they also kind of reference that, like, no, this is because of you and your trauma. You should probably work on this. And so it does kind of, like, again, play into, like, a personal hell situation, but it was still. It was fun to see how that worked. I do feel like there were like I would have liked more of these, like, loops, to see more of the way it kind of how they varied each time. I thought that could have been cooler. They do it. They show the loop and it is pretty cool, but it isn't as much as I would have wanted.
Do you get the best ending in the Until Dawn movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You also get to view some of the really bad endings. So they do a found footage at one point where this guy's like, hey, I don't remember what happened the last couple of times. Let's check out my phone. And then it's just like a whole bunch of sizzle
Montage.
reels of, just them getting
Bad
murdered in grisly ways. Yeah.
And
Those are kind of neat.
And they do a couple of loops as well, but it's more like I think that I would have wanted, like, I think that they could have added more to that. Even just the like montage could have been more. And because the montage was cool. The montage was very cool. I just wanted more of it. I think that was that was possibly my favorite part, was the montage.
At a certain point, you have to think, like, which loops are we going to do? Which ones are going to be the most dramatic? And I think it did a good job of, like, you get to watch the first, I think it's 3 or 4, and then after that they're like, okay, well,
Let's fast forward a little bit.
turns out we've been here for, like, 9 more loops. So, and each one, it shows in the montage, like, that they do progressively better until they get to the last one.
Okay. All right.
But there are spooky monsters. It had a small like cabin in the woods effect when they do all of the montages. 'Cause it's like, oh yeah, I would definitely want to see some of those creepy things.
Are there any Wendigo?
Yes, that's a
Yeah.
big part of it.
Good.
Yeah,
But
they
not
kind of go into it.
not in the same sense as
It's definitely
game.
a different story.
And I'm good with that. This is something where I don't think it would be as interesting if it was just a rehash. Because those games are pretty much trying to be interactive movies anyway.
They really are.
Alec has experience with them now.
Yes.
But I think that this case, it's definitely different, but it does enough to still be kind of fun. I think that, because it did have like maybe 2 or 3 jump scares even, so it's kind of one of those things that if you want to like go in with a bucket of popcorn and just have a good old scare that's not the trauma porn, like, oh, we're gonna hit you with some visceral horror or even just some gore. It's like, nah, this is pretty fun scary face, and an
And body
occasional like,
horror.
oh wow, they died in a crazy way.
Yeah.
the clown room or the doll room. The doll room.
Yeah,
Man, there's just something about creepy dolls. But at one point, this guy goes into this room and he's like, you know that something's gonna happen. You can like sense the jump scare, and there's just a creepy clown doll sitting on the chair, and I'm like, man, don't just leave. Just turn around and leave.
Yeah.
And he goes up to it anyway. He's like, stupid clown, and like punts it across the room.
yep.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and gets he gets impaled.
Yeah. So I think it's a good it's good for that kind of movie if you want something completely inconsequential. Like right now Final Destination's in theaters, and I would say that, hey, if you like Final Destination, you'd probably like Until Dawn.
What if I don't like Final Destination?
You probably won't like Until Dawn.
Okay. But what if I did like Until Dawn and I still don't like Final Destination? Am I the problem?
Yes. I would say so.
I've never wanted to break the non-swearing code as much as I do right now.
Just
Why?
mute your mic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
We need a bleep button. Joel, bleep that up.
I muted myself.
Just throw in a bleep. It'll be hilarious.
Yeah, do that. Just one long bleep right there. Let
Yep.
the audience wonder what I said.
Yep. Yep.
So I don't know if they're gonna do a sequel. They kind of could, and they don't really have too much. It's similar to the game itself, the idea of the Wendigo, but that's about it.
I don't think that they will, only because it did not do well.
No?
I don't think that it did anything of what they were hoping for.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, movies aren't doing so well. Everything's expensive.
Everything's expensive because everybody has to go to the theater and buy a $45 popcorn bucket.
Honestly, the best part of theaters dying has been a lot of empty theaters to watch movies in, so that's been nice.
Agreed.
Except for the one that we were in.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are in Chicago. That's a Chicago
And actually,
problem.
that was still pretty empty.
Yeah.
You just happened to find all the inconsiderate
They were all
people.
around us because we got like center. We got
To
full
be fair,
center.
It was on. It was a Saturday night, wasn't it? Was
Yeah.
it Friday night? Okay,
It was
so Saturday night, 10:30, the same weekend that Thunderbolts came out. Didn't expect there to be that many people there. I was surprised that people showed up to that movie when there were other options.
And again, there still wasn't, like, it was a kind of an empty theater. We had the kids group in front of us, the people on TikTok on our right, and then the family on our left, and maybe one other family behind us. The rest of the theater was pretty empty.
No, you remember there were a couple of families that were behind us because one of the kids brought the blanket, the theater blanket.
Okay, you're right. You're right.
And then when we got up, there were people that were still standing behind us because they were
But I'm
hanging
saying is that
out.
you got to imagine though it's still not a packed. It wasn't fully sold.
Oh no! And again, Thunderbolts, and I know that there were people in that theater because they were going to go see that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily Until Dawn, just...
Would somebody
Other-
who lights Thunderbolts light Until Dawn?
I don't know that those two things are related.
But would they?
Yeah. Well, the gaming community, I don't know, is the gaming community, it depends on the gaming community. Sometimes it's like really hit or miss on superhero films.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Maybe? Let's just say yes.
There you go. There you go.
Sounds-
Yes, it is.
sounds-
I'm making a ruling here.
That sounds like a good rental.
Yeah, definitely
I
do
think
it.
so.
Check it out. I
Check
think you'll
when it
appreciate
comes.
it.
It should be coming to streaming soon.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, pretty quick. I don't think it'll be too long before it's on streaming. So we also play video games on this podcast, contrary to popular belief. This week, Alex wanted to bring one to us, and then I could talk for a very brief moment about Escape Academy because I feel like some of you guys have already played it, so you're
about halfway
familiar
through
with it. Okay. All right. Okay, so Alex is going to run us through Betrayal at Club Low.
What was it? The
I don't know.
what
Shorty there?
Star
We
Citizen.
played it.
Star
Star
Citizen.
Citizen.
The Disco Elysium.
Okay.
So if y'all like rolling dice, you like rolling them dice, dice.
Dice.
If the mood strikes.
Yeah. Like seeing them in fully rendered 3D roll across your screen.
I like my math rocks. Go on.
Okay. This is one of those where you are. It's a very quirky, silly. You could tell that this person used some very generic assets. The characters look like they're mannequins with like clothes put on them. Very silly. You're a secret agent who has to get in and save another secret agent who's in trouble in a nightclub. What were you gonna say, Eddie?
I wasn't going to say anything, but okay. That sounds interesting.
And you have stats that each have their own dice. So it'll show you like charisma, and it'll show you all the faces of a dice. So it'll say all ones, and then strength will be all ones, and performance and deception, cooking, etc. They all start out with ones across the board.
Cooking?
And
Hold
yes,
on. Cooking.
It is one of them.
Why?
So to get into the club, you are a pizza man.
No. You said you're a secret agent that's trying to save another secret
your
agent.
disguise is a pizza man, and you will try to deceive people with how delicious your pizza can be.
But you didn't make the pizza.
But you can actually alter it, and there is a section where you end up having to cook or know food knowledge. There's
Now-
lots of things where you can impress people with your food knowledge.
Is there, or that is how you chose to play?
Well, it's so you have all of these die, and as you get money, you pay money to either upgrade every side of the die or go one by one for different faces. So you could have a die that, like, I'm going to take my charisma, I'm going to go 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, and then I have the opportunity to get a 2 out of this roll. And the more money you get, the more you can upgrade your die. And there's really kind of only a certain amount of money you could probably grind out in these scenarios. So it's like the first thing you have to do is like, there's a line with a bouncer. What are you going to do? But there's other things, like if you go to the back alley, there's a whole other section of things you could do to try to get in. And it's just a club, but there's probably 4 to 5 different ways to get in. Whether it be getting, like, doing these checks across the different people in line to get to the head of the line, convincing the bodyguard, sneaking in back to the sleeping bodyguard at the back door, climbing up the fire escape. There's all these different options, all based on your stats, and there's different ways to boost them by, entertaining the crowd by doing a dance, and if you get the right roll, and you're rolling against them, so they'll roll a die as well. And whenever you go to do a check, it'll say this is their die, and you're like, man, that die is all 5s. I have a dice that's only 2s in this stat. that's not going to work. So you have to kind of like gauge what you're doing. Then on top of that, you get buffs and debuffs. If you win a bunch of rolls, all of a sudden you have confidence. So a second die will roll that'll give you bonus. But if you then win the next roll, it'll be cockiness, and that die now will have a +2 or +1 or a -2 or a -1 and some other ones on there. So there is like some play in there. You get, if you miss a roll, all of a sudden you lose your confidence. So now you have a debuff that when you roll, there'll be another die that rolls that'll have negatives. So there's a lot in play, and you're just trying to either tie or totally beat the other roll that you're going against. It's pretty short. It's a short time experience. This was recommended to from one of my friends at Indie City Games. But it's a really bite-sized one of these in that the Disco Elysium way. What are you looking at, Joel?
Oh, it's just I'm looking at the Steam page, and everything's really grungy and dimly lit, kind of run down and warped, and it's like the characters look like very old PC model character kind of stuff, and here's a fruit texture that is just a flat image of a pile of fruit. So I like the aesthetic of this. It's good.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that you convince the bouncer like, hey, take the night off, and the bouncer's like, great. And then he puts his hand in the air, and then he just shoots off like a rocket into the sky, and it's like, huh, okay. And so whenever you like convince someone to take a night off, they just do okay, and like rocket out into the sky. You're like, oh, that was weird. But it's just like, they don't have a whole lot of animation. This is a very small outfit that made this, but it's pretty fun. Especially in just like it's very mechanic rich. You have health and sanity, so some die will take hits to that. Your stat boosts and the way you're rolling towards beating these other stats and trying to get these things. And you do have there is a reroll mechanic. You do get 2 rerolls per, and you can pick one die that'll let you reroll. So if you're trying to hit that roll and you miss it, you can take a couple more tries to roll just like what. Like you got a 5 and a 1, and you're like, crap, I need a 7. I'm gonna reroll that 1. So there is a little bit more play in there.
Oh, there is a
Sounds
demo.
Interesting.
Yeah, nice.
I just kind of
demo.
Yeah, and it's pretty short, I think like 3 hours. So I just kind of dove in one day, and I was like, well, I'm gonna just dig into this and re-roll a bunch of stuff. And of course, there is like a little bit of save scumming, obviously. So if you really are worried about that, you could always do that. But I mostly liked the losses because even the losses got me some funny dialogue and a debuff or a buff that were just to kind of like change up how I was playing. So. And again, also just like there was like 5 different exits. So it's like, okay, you have to get the guy. How do you get the guy? Well, here's 6 different ways to get the guy out. Okay, and then where do we escape? Well, here's 6 different ways to escape, and you just could figure all of that out and just play around with it because it's a pretty, again, small space in a small game. So they're able to just have a lot going on, like convincing you could convince the DJ to help you, or you could just become him and like convince him that you're better than him. You could have him fired. You could you can convince that his manager's stealing money from him, so he's super angry and like
he probably
goes off
is.
to fight his man. No, he is. But you could go and have him fight his manager, and it's like, oh, this is all pretty good. Like, which one am I going to go for? Which one am I going to do? And I definitely became the DJ, got the whole crowd to think I was the best DJ ever. And then I went to go find the guy who, the other agent I was trying to save, and he's being held by a mafia boss. The mafia boss goes, "Oh, you're that killer DJ," and then it's like, "Do you want to convince him to help you? Roll, and you also get bonus die because the crowd is pumped on you." And I was like, "Oh, so it just all played out that I was getting bonuses because I pumped up the crowd, and I didn't even realize it. I was just like, what am I going to do here? Oh, I could pump up this crowd. That seems fun. I'm going to roll some dice on that." You know what I mean? It just, everything kind of did work together and coalesce into something I thought was like a fun adventure. Yep. So that was a Betrayal at Club Low.
And Rob
looks like-
Lowe was not there, right?
No, Rob Lowe was not there.
Okay. Just
Looks
making
like
sure.
there's a demo of the next game in his this developer's line of work, Move of the Diamond Hand.
Ooh, I'll check that out. Maybe we'll play that for next week. Is that out? No,
The
Next
demo
week.
is.
but the game is not out yet.
The game is not out yet, but the demo is.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll check that out.
It's an important distinction. We don't play games that are out in this podcast.
No.
Maybe next time.
We don't believe in games. Or
But the
video game
games
accessories.
believe in you.
No, they don't.
I hope not.
What
Don't
you
give those
playing,
games this kind of power. Like I said, I have this Epic Game Store thing that every week they're like, hey, have some games. And it's, I don't know about you guys, but I have so many games on the Epic Game Store. It's like you just walk in and they're like, hey, here's 3 games. And I was eventually just like, fine. All right, Escape Academy. I don't know what that is. Let's see what it is. I have like 3 games that are installed on my computer. Haven't opened them. So Escape Academy was one that I installed a while ago. I was like, all right, let's do this. So started up and it's like, hey, you like escape rooms? And I was like, they're fine. And then you go to this. The story's kind of funny because you go to this really rundown escape room and it's like, all right, you gotta get out. And
half the stuff's broken.
Plays it off like the person who is at the desk doesn't even care, doesn't want to be there. And then, yeah, like everything's really shoddy. Even the puzzles are kind of half-baked.
Like
It's
one of them just
all right.
says, pretend a key was here.
Yeah, exactly. So you make it through that. It's pretty simple. But then after you make it out of the room, that's where it starts to take a nice twist. It's like, all right, now get out of the escape room building. And then you follow it to this train, and the person who was previously the uninterested clerk at the counter is now like the head of an escape academy. It's like, okay, you want to join? Let's go there. And then it's not Harry Potter, but it makes me
real Harry Potter.
it makes me feel in a way that it tries to be.
No, you're right though. It's got that same sort of like whimsy to it.
Yeah.
You know.
It's like, let's check out all of the different professors. Like, this one's really cool, and he wants you to graffiti your name on this monument. And then, like, the bus driver, Jeb, I think it is, he's just like, hey, there's a couple that I did for Jeb. One of them was in the cafeteria. He's like, yeah, man, I made you a milkshake. And then you drink the milkshake, and it's like, you've been poisoned. You got to solve more puzzles. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
And
why is that a thing?
And then like the screen has like when you get poisoned, it changes it so it's the color purple, and then it makes you do a bunch of stuff to get cured. But in between the
one of them is like the janitor. It's like, oh, help me fix the plumbing, and you get down there. It's like, oh, by the way, there's a toxic gas leak. You only have 30 minutes. It's like, what?
Yeah. And I like that if you're really quick, you can do it in the time frame. Some of them, it gives you time piecemeal. There's another one where you're trying to fix the plumbing, but the water level is increasingly rising, and you only have 5 minutes per room. It's manageable. I haven't felt like at any point in time I was not going to be able to complete it. There's been a couple of times where it got dicey and it was down to the wire, but overall not overly complicated. And then in the main story beats, they throw in these interactions with some of the teachers, some of the other people on campus, but also like field missions. There was one that they make you do where you are rescuing the headmaster's brother, and I did not know what was going on, and I got stuck for like a good 5 minutes at the start of that mission because it's like, I need the serial number off of the machine that's attacking me, the turret. And I was like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Like going over to this side of the room, going over to that side of the room, and then eventually figuring out and being like, oh, I'm a bonehead.
Yeah, I remember where was it? It was like you had to like look in the mirror and then find a way to see the turret, the back of the turret.
No, it's on one of the screens, but then I was looking at it like, how am I supposed to figure what this is? But it's one of those really simple things. When you see it, then you're like, oh, well, I'm an idiot.
I made this way too complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was like it was a B and then minus a bone. Okay. And then in the second picture, it was 6 Ds. And I just kept staring at it. I was like, how am I supposed to know what this is?
160.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. But for the life of me, I couldn't figure it out until like a couple of minutes, and I was like, oh, yeah. Nah, it makes sense now. Yeah, I'm nearly done with it. It's, again,
fun.
very quick. None of the rooms that I've encountered have taken me the full half an hour. There have been a couple that it got close to, but it also gives you a score at the end of the stage, and there are hints available if you're not sure or if you need help. So it's very friendly. It wants you to be able to succeed, and overall just like a really fun, breezy escape room experience without the high stakes of having to go hang out with your friends.
Ooh, who wants to do that?
Exactly.
Yeah. They do also allow the option to extend your time by another like 10 or 15 minutes at a time. Right.
They do?
Yeah. There are options after you lose. You said you didn't lose, right?
No.
So if you run out of
yeah.
if they run out of time, they give you the option to extend time and keep going. So
Okay.
it is very user friendly, and that was a big help to me.
I can tell you the one time that I used a clue was in the what stage was it? The greenhouse.
I guess
It was
the art one.
The greenhouse. I was like, I do not know what I'm looking for, and then I hit the clue button and it was like the tree at the beginning had initials in it, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
I must have walked past that thing a dozen times and I didn't see those initials. But yeah, no, it's, again, not overly complicated. Most of the puzzles are pretty obvious, and it offers a bit of a challenge. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Go play it. It was free. I have so many free Epic Game Store games. I need to play them.
You don't have to play games, Caddy.
I am foregoing, like, I've thought about purchasing. There's a lot of good sales right now, so I'm like, oh, I could buy this, I could buy that, and instead I'm like, I'm gonna play Escape Academy. I've
been staying pretty hard on. I haven't bought anything in a while, so that's also what I've been doing is going through and finding like the ones. Okay, which ones do I have that are free that I've been kind of knock out and beat? I think I got like at one point I got the Stanley Parable, the deluxe.
That for sure was on Epic Game Store.
Yeah, the remake one. So I got that. I'm gonna play that at some point too.
Yeah, it's just raining games over here. Hold on, I'll tell you what other games I have installed on this thing that I didn't even fire up because I'm too lazy, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if it's even laziness. It's just like,
And
I'm
games-
gonna do it.
Also, games keep coming out too. Joel, did you see 2 a T came out?
Which one is to a T?
That's the Katamari guy.
Oh, I hadn't been keeping track of that one.
Yeah, it came out. It's on Game Pass.
Okay.
It's called
Yeah.
2 a T.
So, Redacted, I also installed, I don't even know how long ago that was. But I was like, this could be interesting. And then a game that I have played but still haven't been able to finish, Solitarica.
Oh, I love Solitarica. I beat that. I beat that on my phone.
Yeah, but that one's something where it's like, I got other stuff that I'm doing. I could just put this one on and try and make some progress on it.
I don't know if there's beating that one. I just got unlocked everything for every class.
There is you can get to the end of it. So I imagine that it's possible to beat it. But I think that it also can increase the difficulty after you reach the end.
I don't think there's credits, though, is there?
I doubt it. I don't think that's the kind of game where you're going to get credits.
That's what I'm saying, is I don't think it's that type of game.
but I mean, you can beat it. It will get you.
Oh no, I
to,
meant like I beat it. I beat the each one with each class. And,
Yeah.
like I did enough because there's unlocks in there as well, so I definitely get all the unlocks for every class.
Okay. Yep.
I like it. I like that one.
And I know that they are giving away Tiny Tina's Wonderlands right now, so
We should play that on Extra Life.
I've already played Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
But with the rest of us three.
No, just with Stevers, but if that's what you want, sure.
I mean, it's local co-op.
You gonna make everybody locally play Tiny Tina?
Maybe.
Okay. So we'll mosey on over to our final segment. Not even a segment. Our little outro here, where we're gonna do one last thing. This week's one last thing can be brought to you by, I don't know, man. Switch 2? That's a thing, right?
Yep. We will have it in hands by the time the next episode goes up.
I won't, but that's fine.
Some of us will.
Some of you will. Some of you will be playing Donkey Kong,
I think that's out later this year.
Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Likely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be playing that.
All right, how about we say one last thing brought to you by Joel mercilessly crushing his kids at the new Mario Kart before the next episode.
Fair.
All right. I hope that that's the case. I hope you can report back and be like, yeah, I'm the Mario Kart champion of the house.
I scared
Yeah,
them
Donkey
away on
Kong
8.
Bonanza is July 17th.
Oh, so soon.
Yeah.
Like a month after. A little bit more than a month. All right. My one last thing. I think I am over the 50% mark of Expedition 33. I was waiting for Alex to, even hint or say that he reached the end of Act 1. Did he?
What is the end of Act 1?
It says end of Act 1 after you finish it. So I'm going to take
no.
that as a no.
I got that
So,
one weird lady who has the sun and moon thing, and I had
All
no
right.
idea how to understand what she did. So I said, and I shut off the game.
All right. I will
Freak
continue to
out.
wait until he can reach that point to carry a conversation on with him. Alex, what do you got?
Nothing. Just hanging out, doing my thing. I started that Persona 3 episode. I guess the reason also is because I just want to uninstall Persona 3 from my box. So I was like, well, I want to knock this out so I can uninstall it and put that, because the Persona series, the Shin Megami Tensei series, I definitely prefer having the physical copies. So I also know that I will be, once I beat it, I will uninstall it, but I'm not going to resell that game. But I'm like, well, let's just get this uninstalled so then I can install some other things. So that's where I'm like, episode I guess isn't that long, so let's knock that out while I'm playing some other stuff. So, and since it's like a turn-based RPG that's not that long, I can just kind of do it passively.
Passively.
There's not really like a social link aspect to this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Time loops and whatnot.
Joel?
Okay, honest opinion here. Is Expedition 33 something that would grab my interest?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
He said yes.
You love Sea of Stars, did you not?
Yes.
So it's Sea of Stars, but now 3D.
I'm waiting to see Getty's response here.
I don't know if I agree exactly with that.
Turn-based RPG with Paper Mario mechanics that will help make the turn-based a little bit more active.
I
Super
would
French.
tell you that it is probably more in line with the Persona game, especially with the free aim where you can just shoot stuff. There are no obvious weaknesses, but the Paper Mario mechanics, or however Alex had described it, yes, you can use those. They're not necessary to succeed in the game.
Someone has gone through the game not using dodge or parry mechanics, but that's absolutely not, that's not, you're wrong, Getty. You're wrong.
You don't need to be perfect at using
No, you
those
don't need to
mechanics
be
in order to
perfect,
succeed.
but you need to parry, you need to dodge,
You don't need to.
There
If you
was
just want to
there's
take
somebody
the hits.
that did it without it, and they said it was a pain in the butt.
But they
One
did it.
person did it. One
And
person.
now that you're an expert at the timed counters in Sekiro, I think that you'd probably stand a better chance.
Okay, fair.
Because the parries will take someone's health bar down by 2/3. You will sit there and do regular attacks, inching away, but if you parry, it will take their health down by 2/3. So it's like
His 2/3 is a made up number.
Uh-huh.
It depends on the mob you're fighting.
I guess
the
that
weaker
all
ones,
the
yes.
mobs that I've fought so far in the first 6 hours of gameplay.
Yep, those are the ones that you're like, oh yeah, I'm so strong. He's gonna get further in, and he's gonna be like, oh no, what happened?
For sure, yes, yes. Doesn't mean that I'm wrong in saying that they are pretty close to, if damn near not necessary.
Okay.
It helps.
All right.
You don't have to play it though.
A lot of
Do
mimes.
whatever you feel like doing.
A lot of mimes, I think you will.
I've beaten up
especially-
a lot of mimes.
Especially if you hate mimes.
I think I've beaten up 10 mimes now. Alec, bring us home.
You know, part of me wants to just cheap out and be like, same question.
Yes, I think you would like it.
Really?
It doesn't hit you with an hour-long amount of exposition, except for the very intro hours. If you get past the first hour of the game, after that it picks up pretty fast.
Yes, that is true.
All right.
So if you could make it past that intro, then you're going to be fine.
Well,
I would
after
never
I beat Trials of Mana, I'll pick it up.
I would never suggest you to play Persona.
Oh, no. I tried that once. It was not a good time.
I loaded up episode, I guess, and I've not played yet, and it's been an hour and a half.
Yeah. No.
Awesome. All right. That'll be it for this week's episode of Super GG Radio. Before we go, you can find us on Blue Sky at Super GG Radio and twitch.tv/Super GG Radio, where Thursdays we alternate from a podcast to whatever Alec is doing. Sometimes I show up and we play Magic. I think that's probably going to happen in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, well,
Probably.
2 weeks, I think Final Fantasy drops.
Yep. So we got that. Alex is picking his way through Expedition 33. Joel is still finding some time to squeeze in Sekiro, hoping to overcome. So you beat Lightning Daddy, and now you've got a couple more bosses that you need to do, but you don't know where they are. So
Correct.
yeah. You'll find them, and one of them I would disagree should be even considered a boss fight.
Okay.
The folding screen monkeys. That was
I do like the fact that it is it's a little puzzle. It's a puzzle. It's a little puzzle.
it's kind of a puzzle, but it's not a boss fight in the conventional sense.
No, it is not.
All right. Fair.
And that's what we have streaming. So check out all of that or any of that, whatever tickles your fancy. Otherwise, if you'd like to reach us with questions or input, our email address is mail@superggradio.com, and provide us a review on iTunes or the podcast app of your choice. Please check out our Patreon, where you can get monthly pictures of our pups, get your name read off as an executive producer, free copies of Early Adopters, and hey, you can even have the chance to play games with us, the Goons of Super GG Radio.
We don't like that phrase.
I am.
What's wrong with that phrase?
It's not a good one.
I don't want to
Continue.
talk about it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
I'll be a troll. We'll do it that way. Thanks for listening, and good game, Alex.
GG Getty.
Good game, Joel.
Good game.
Good game, Alec.
GG.
I just want to know what's in the Sydney Sweeney soap.
So.
Nope.